Thanks for joining. I'm so excited for what God is going to do today in your life. Take a moment, get out your pen, your paper, your tablet, your notebook, whatever you use to take notes with, because I know God's going to say something that if you pay attention will transform your life. If you're being blessed by the ministry, don't hesitate to make a donation. Go to www.righteous247.com or download our app in the App Store, Righteous 247. Now prepare your hearts, prepare your mind, get to a quiet place, because God's about to change your life. Hallelujah. Thank you, praise team. Y'all did an awesome job. The band, you guys are awesome. I love all of you so much. The sound team, the video team in the back. I just love everybody. I love you out there watching on stream. You, look at you. You could be doing something else with an excuse. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's forcing you to tune in, but you're watching on your own decision. That speaks volumes of your maturity in your relationship with God. And I'm excited that you tuned in with us. And I'm just ready to move forward in what God has for us. Y'all all right? Clap it up if you love God one more time. Make sure I'm still in the right place. Oh, man. Welcome to Righteous Youth and Young Adult Ministry, also known as Righteous 24/7, because we fight to live a righteous life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't believe in just fighting to live for God on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. We believe fighting all day, every day. Does that mean that we always win? No, but we always fight. Everybody say, I fight. And the more I fight, guess what? The more I win. Anybody ever been in a fight before? The fight is never really over until somebody quits. I'm going to say it again. No matter who's winning, the fight is never over until one of the two people quit. Y'all should clap it up right there. I just said something. Let me explain to you what I just said. So regardless at what stage of the fight you're in, maybe you feel like you're losing the battle right now as far as living the righteous life, but I'm here to tell you that if you don't quit, the fight ain't over. And I'm here to tell you that one good punch can change the whole mode and direction of the fight that you're in for this righteous life. And today we plan to put some spinach in your arms, the way you can swing on the enemy and tell them back up off you. You're going to live a life that's pleasing to God. Somebody should be clapping their hands right now. If you want to live this life, I'm here to tell you that he lets you make it to Sunday and backup has just arrived. Oh, man. Backup has just arrived. I'm okay. See, okay. I'm just feeling deep today because I'm excited. Some of us may be struggling when we by ourselves, and I feel you, and you're going to get stronger, and you're going to get better, but I'm here to tell you that today backup has arrived, and if you were losing, it's time for you to start winning. So I need you to be excited that regardless of what you've been going through, backup is here. And I tell the enemy what? Not what you want to do. My brother here, my sister here, people who love me here, and it's about to go down. See, I can tell some of y'all ain't been in no fights for real where you was losing and your people showed up. You ever had somebody talking junk to you and then they discovered that there was more people with you than they thought, and all of a sudden their attitude changed? You was talking real good a minute ago, and all of a sudden you kind of quiet. That's how the devil feel right now. He like, dang, I almost got you here late enough to miss it. I almost caused you to stay at home. Dang, if you would have just killed yourself on Thursday like I tried to get you to, I would have won. But you messed around and made it to back. All right, let me just go ahead, because you know I'm just feeling good because God is just that good. Everybody say God is good. All right. I'm ready. Title of the message today, we're going to use, when God gave it to me, this is how I heard it, so I'm going to give you this title. I'm going to do my best to articulate the message to you in the best way I can. And if I feel that you're not catching it, I'll find more ways to get it to you, because the message I want to give you is not necessarily deep, but I'm trying to paint a picture that makes it last. Everybody say makes it last. All right, cool. Title of the message is going to be the power of perspective. Everybody say the power of perspective. I'm going to pull out my dictionary. You can pull out yours if you'd like to. And I always want to pull up the definition of perspective, if you don't mind. Let's do that. The definition of perspective. Let's go. The first one that comes up, let's go to the second one, because the first one is a different type of perspective. The perspective we're dealing with today is number 2 on my phone. It's a noun. It says a particular attitude toward or way of regarding something, a point of view. What I like to say about perspective is the way you see it, the way you see something. There's a quote there's a quote that says, we are the sum total of our thoughts. And then I often say we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. What I mean by that is we can be both looking at the same thing, but we'll see it totally differently depending on what perspective we're looking from or what our thought process is about the thing. Does that make sense? So the power of perspective. Everybody say the power of perspective. And for a topic I want to give you, since you're taking notes, you guys are such great students. I love you, righteous. Y'all just awesome. Y'all don't just come to sit. Y'all actually trying to get the word and apply it. So I'm so proud. Clap it up for yourself for taking notes and trying to capture the word. I just think that's so dope of you. And also take your notes and then make sure that you're looking at them later. But the subtitle topic I would give you would be choose your filter. Yeah. The power of perspective, and then I tell you to choose your filter. Let's go to Numbers 13. Numbers 13, we're going to go to verse 30. We're going to read in the New Living Translation. I believe the video team has the information. If not, I'll wait for you to find it. But Numbers 13, verse 30, New Living Translation. We're going to read a little bit of this story here. But let me kind of give you a concept of what's happening in the scripture. Great, they do have it. Let's talk a little bit. You guys can leave it right there because they can still see me on stream. Hey, y'all, I feel like I see y'all in the spirit watching. You need to put some clothes on. You need to take that hair scarf off. And, I'm just playing. Okay, so keep watching. Here we go. Here, before I begin to read this text, God is speaking to his people here called the children of Israel. They were recently in bondage. They were recently enslaved by the Egyptians, so forth and so on. And then God performed miraculous miracles. He performed miraculous works or miracles and wonders to rescue them. Now, and he also promised them something called the promised land. Everybody say promised land. Now, this promised land, he told them, listen, where I'm going to lead you as your God is going to be a great place, and it's going to be a land, as he used it, flowing with milk and honey. You can leave it. Okay, but they want to take it down. Amen. They want y'all to see me clearly. A land flowing with milk and honey. So this is this promised land, and here it is. God has just performed miracles. I mean, I'm not going to reteach the whole Exodus story. Read the book of Exodus. You'll see all the things God did for his people. I mean, they done walked across water. He done provided food from heaven and water out the mountains. All types of things have been happening here. And now they're at the place that he promised them. Everybody say they're at the place that he promised them. Oh, man, that'll kind of preach about itself. They're at the place that he promised them. The problem is now they have to go get it. Or they have to go conquer it. Okay. You could be at the place that God promised you, but now you have a job to go conquer it. See, oftentimes we want God to just do everything for us. He says, listen, I'll get you there, but now I need you to do your part to receive that which I've already given you. See, one thing I discovered about God is he wants us to participate in what he gives us, because your participation is the proof that you trust what he promised. Okay, this, for those of you taking notes, let me help you. This is what you should write now. You should write, my participation is the proof that I trust in what he promised. I'm going to say it again. My participation is the proof that I trust in what he promised. Last time, my participation is the proof that I trust what he promised. Trust in what he promised is also often regarded or known as faith. And the Bible says faith without works is dead. So if I have faith but don't participate, then my faith is dead. So my participation is the proof that I trust in what he promised. Y'all got it? So here it is. He promised them that he would take them to the promised land. And this land would be good for them. It would bless them. It would be everything they desire, right? So now he did all these miracles to get them there. But he stopped them at the door because he says, now you have something to do, because you got to participate to justify that you receive that which I want to give you and promise you can have. Y'all follow me so far? All right, sweet. So they get to the land that he promised them. And no, don't worry, I'm gonna make it all make sense to you, and I'm gonna get to the power perspective. I just want you to understand what's happening before I read the text. So they get to the land, and they send out 12 spies to go and check the land out. Like, yo, we think this is where God sent us, so we need 12 people to go and to check out the land to make sure it is everything God said it was, so that we know that this is indeed what God promised. Because if we know this is what God promised, then we can have the confidence to do what we have to do because we know He's going to give it to us. That makes sense? Okay, y'all with me? All right, good. So what Moses did was, and I'm giving you this all background, because now you're going to understand the word after I give you this. So what Moses did was he called 12 leaders from all 12 tribes. Tell somebody, he called the leaders. He told the leaders, he said, go look first and come back and tell us what you see so that we can know if this is what God has for us. So the 12 leaders went, and they went and they checked it out, and they saw the things they saw, and lo and behold, everything God said that was going to be there, it was there. Somebody say, look at there. It was there. Say it again, look at there. It was there. Now, God done said this was going to be here, and then I went there, and guess what? It was there. Now, if God told you, let's say God was real specific with you. You were looking for a job, and God says, listen, when you go to this job, you're going to know the job that I'm giving you, because the man is going to have on a blue suit with a red shirt and a yellow and red and blue tie. And then you get a call from a job, and you're like, man, I don't even qualify for this job. This is crap. I don't even know why I'm going. But you go anyway, and the man got on a blue suit, a red shirt, and a yellow, red, and blue what, y'all? All right, y'all paying attention. That's what's up. And he got all the stuff on. How many of y'all would be confident in that interview? Y'all would? All right, good. Put your hands down. Now, let's say the interview started, and he started saying, okay, now you have to have a college degree. You need about 10 years of experience. How old are you, 22? Well, you have to be 25 to get this job. So we're going to give you a call and let you know if you got it. How many of y'all would think you was going to get that job? Some of y'all lying. You know, y'all be like, man, this is some bull. It must be another blue suit and red shirt, yellow, red, and blue tie. Why? Because what I see has overpowered my belief in what God said. I'm going to get to you in a minute. The question is, does what you see overpower your belief in what God said? Okay, let me help you. This is what you put in your notes. Does what I see, y'all such a good class. Y'all such a good. Does what I see overpower my belief in what God said? One last time. Does what I see overpower my belief in what God said? All right, now, okay, I'm just about ready. So they got to the place that God promised them, and the spies went, and then they came back, and they was like, yo, the land has everything God said it was going to have. Yo, it's so much food there, y'all. We about to be living it up. They got these big, huge grapes so big, I'm telling you, we all can drink. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be crazy. And they was all excited, and they was like, bet. And they said, but we can't go there, though. They said, we can't go in there because the people who actually live there, they way stronger than us, they way bigger than us, and if we step up to them, they're going to smash us. As a matter of fact, we like grasshoppers to them, and that's how we felt when we stood next to them, and they thought so too. First of all, I just want to bring something to your attention. They didn't ask the people what they thought. They assumed that that the people saw them as they saw themselves. It's kind of like when you see a pretty girl walking by and you want to talk to her, but you feel like you ain't fresh that day. You ain't clean. You ain't got your line up. So you assume she's not gonna like you, so you don't say nothing to her. You assume she gonna think about you the way you think about yourself when you don't really know she was watching you the whole time, hoping you come say something. So instead of you going to her, believing and knowing who you are, you decide to defeat your own self in what you could have had. Okay. Why? Because there's power in your perspective. Because if you feel that you're not enough, it's going to cause you not to approach her. Even though you could have got her, and now you walk around by yourself. Thinking about you could have got a haircut when you could be talking to her. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. All right, so anyway, y'all with me? Okay, so they're at the land, and they sent the spies out, and 10 of these guys was like, yo, as much as this land looks like what God said, y'all, we can't have this because they would kill us if we stepped to them. But 2 of them was like, listen, Linda. These people don't want it with us because God is with us. And regardless of how it looks, we must remember what he said, and God is faithful to give us that which he promised. All right, I got a lot of ground to make up, but y'all understand where we at in the story? All right, here we go, team. Y'all can help me now. Numbers 13, verse 30, New Living Translation. It says, but Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once. Take the land, he said. We can certainly conquer it. But the other men who had explored the land with him disagreed. We can't go up against them. They are stronger than we are. So they spread this bad report about the land amongst the Israelites. Please don't leave me now. Please don't be distracted now. Follow me. It says, so they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. The land we traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes to live there. All the people we saw were huge. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers, and that's what they thought too. See, I told y'all I didn't make that up. I need you to see something. Since the leaders were scared, they spread the report to the people. The people were not there, but the report they were given controlled how they responded. The power of perspective. How I see a thing determines how I respond to it. So I need to be careful who I let control my perspective. Because if you control how I see it, you control my response. And if you control my response, you could make me miss my promise. Can we just do a little more Bible study? I just want to read the story, and hopefully you can follow with the story. Let's go to chapter 14, which is the very next verse. We just continuing on where we left off. Numbers 14. It says, then the whole community began weeping aloud, and they cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron. Pause right here. They never saw anything. They never went to the land. They just heard the perspective of those who told them. Do y'all see all of this crying and stuff going on, and they ain't even been there? I'm coming to you. Stay with me. Let's watch. Because it's easier if we talk about them and then we're going to come to us. Y'all right? Y'all ready? Okay, let's keep going. They complained, if only we had died in Egypt or even here in the wilderness, they complained, why has the Lord taken us to this country only to have us die in battle? Our wives, our little ones will be carried off as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt? Then they plotted amongst themselves, let's choose a new leader and go back to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground before the whole community of Israel. 2 of the men who had explored the land, Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, tore their clothing. They said to all the people of Israel, the land we traveled through and explored is a wonderful land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Do not rebel against the Lord. And don't be afraid of the people of the land. They are only helpless prey to us. They have no protection, but the Lord is with us. Somebody say the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them. But the whole community began to talk about stoning Joshua and Caleb. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to all the Israelites at the tabernacle. Uh-oh, God showed up. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? Will they never believe me, even after all the miraculous signs I have done among them? I will disown them and destroy them with the plague. Then I will make you into a nation greater and mighty than they are. The power of perspective. God had promised these people a great land, a better life. He had done miraculous things to get them out, to get them to a place they had never imagined being in before. But somehow, some way, they allowed the perspective of a few men to cause them to think that God was not still faithful. And if I'm not cautious of my perspective, I'll allow somebody else's opinion on how they talk to me to cause me to doubt my God's ability to continue to do for me what he promised me. Okay, some of y'all starting to get it. That's okay. I'm going to catch the rest of you in a second. If I'm not careful to keep my trust in God and not people, I will allow people to make me lose trust in God who is with me if I participate in that which he promised. Y'all with me? Okay, so the power of perspective. Perspective guides your life. Would you agree now? How I see a thing determines how I will live or how I will respond to it. For example, Ralph, can you come here real quick? The power of perspective. Yeah, you can come all the way up. Come on up, come on up, come on. Power of perspective. Point two I'd ask you is, who's producing your perspective? See, this is what you write down. First one was power of perspective. All of that was in there. Point two is, who's producing your perspective? Y'all know we got a bunch of people who try to produce our perspective. A bunch of people who tries to choose how we see stuff and tell us how to think. So, Ralph, you know, he's engaged to Deja. Can we clap it up for them? Wave your hand at Deja. Hey, they're engaged. God bless that. Dope. Now, I can imagine, tell me if some of y'all have been through this, because I'm going to get to you. Now, let's say you decide to come to church, and you in church and you chilling. You know what I'm saying? You find you a new little boo, you know. Hopefully that ain't necessarily why you came, but if it got you here, God bless you. You're here now. Now we just got to be here for God, right? So I'm here with my new bae, and we trying to fight to have this great relationship. And then you chilling in church, somebody walk in, and then somebody got the nerve to come and tell you like, psh, that's Deja X right there. All of a sudden, his whole perception of this person is now bad. He ain't never met him. He ain't never talked to him. It's all he see is Deja's ex. So now if he come in, he sit anywhere within 7 rows of Deja, Ralph on 10. Like, let me see what he doing. What he talking about? He better not be smiling at her either. Let me see if she looking. Had someone not made that statement to him, he wouldn't even thought about him. He'd have been focused and everything would have been good. But because somebody decided to give you a perspective, everything about how you think and function is now impacted. Who's producing your perspective? Who's controlling how you see things in life? See, because we don't just see things as they are, we see things as we are, or we see things through the perspective of our mind. It's kind of like, thank you, Ralph, I think that's good enough for right now. I could keep going, but I think they got the point. I need to be careful who I give my ear to. Because we just discovered that my perspective is powerful. Meaning that I can't listen to everybody, because if I let you get in my head, you could be redirecting my life against and away from the promise God has for me. Okay. Okay, so who's producing your perspective? I hope my team, I didn't get to verify with them, but anybody ever been on Snapchat? You know, on Snapchat, they have these things called filters. And perspective can be impacted kind of like a filter impacts a picture. See, you can have a picture and it is what it is. When you throw a filter on it, all of a sudden it looks differently. Okay. And my question is, don't get lost thinking about people who be trying to, anyway. My question is, who's choosing your filters that you look at life on through? I want to look at where Yanni at? Did she? Oh, she's walking. Okay, very good. She's okay. Well, you gonna miss her. I said, Yanni, can you take some pictures for me and use some filters? I think they got them. I want to show you the regular picture of Yanni if they can find it for me. It's a regular picture without a filter on it. I just want to show how filters adjust pictures. It's a regular picture. And the regular picture is what it is, but when we go through life, we don't tend to see things as they are. We see things filters. And some filters make them look better. That's why y'all was clapping. So that's thinking about people who be trying to enhance themselves with their filters. And some filters make things look worse. My question is, and they probably don't have it, okay, y'all follow me on the filters? Y'all seen them filters, you know, got the one with the flowers on it and the crown. It's like, it'd be like, everybody be using that one like they just so angelic. Like, no. You need to get one with some horns. No, I'm joking. Okay. No, but seriously. And then there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there. Y'all get distracted. Okay, so the thing is, the enemy is trying to put a filter on life to make you see it as negative when God has promised you positive. Okay. And since you can't see the original, you only respond according to what filter is on the picture. See, some of y'all done tried to hook up with some people off a filter, and then you got to them and was like, this filter didn't work in person. You understand what I'm saying? And some of us, the enemy is painting filters on people in the spiritual realm, making them look good, but really they crap for us. Okay, y'all don't know. We don't want to hear that. We like to talk about other people and people that we don't like with filters. We don't want to talk about how we done got into some relationships with some filters created by the enemy, and now we stuck in a relationship and we all in love, but we ain't doing them but sentences we got with them. Who's producing your filter? And I discovered that the enemy has become cunning. Well, he's always been cunning, but I discovered he got a new attack, y'all. He's putting a filter on things in life. Why does he use a filter? Because he wants to change our perspective. What's the power in our perspective? If I get your perspective, then I can control your response. Y'all with me? If I can control your response, then I can control your life. Y'all with me? Okay, so if he gets our perspective, he gets our response. If he gets our response, he controls our life. So I discovered that the enemy has a tactic to control our perspective. Ooh, y'all ready for this? I discovered that the enemy is using media to control our perspective. Uh-oh, somebody ain't gonna like this. Watch this. We've been seeing all types of things happening in our world that have just been unjustified, crazy, all that kind of stuff, right? And I discovered that the enemy is using media to control our perspective. That's how he's causing, see, we think what's going on in the world is just people and their bias and their racism and all that kind of stuff. When I discovered that the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and high things that, y'all get what I'm saying, in power. So we're not really wrestling with people. There's an attack on people's perspective that's controlling their response, and the enemy is taking his deception with them and using media to get to you. Why has there been killings of African American people by Caucasian cops? Because the enemy has controlled the way their perspective sees the person. So since they see them as a threat, it's less, as whatever, they don't feel the need to treat them with the same respect. That's a perspective that the enemy gave them. That's really what he's using to cause them to respond improperly. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Because if I perceived you as important, as significant, as not a threat, as a wonderful individual, then I wouldn't treat you how I'm treating you. Follow me. So a lot of the things we face are the result of the enemy manipulating our perspective of people. Then I discovered something else. Then the enemy is using media to control our perspective. Because it's not that we should have a problem with law enforcement. We should have a problem with the spirit that's attacking law enforcement. All right. It's cool. Because people only respond to perspective. So then I discovered something. Then I started watching media, and I discovered, if y'all remember, recently we went through an attack through media on sexuality in marriage. Y'all remember that? That's all we saw. That's all the headlines. That was everything we thought about. Everything we watched. It was about rainbows and loves and sexuality and this and that. And I'm like, man, everybody's saying the same thing. And then after we crossed that, now all we seeing is another brutally shot down. This is just cold-blooded murder. Nobody loves anybody. Fear for your lives. Run, 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 die. I'm just being honest. And I'm like, and then so this is why I personally don't watch the news. Y'all like, I used to tell my grandma, like, why you watch that? She's like, I gotta know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You know what's negative. Watch this. And if all I see is what's negative, it paints a perspective of the world I live in. Okay. Okay, I'm going to teach it, and now you're going to get it because God going to give it to you. Hear me. I paint a perspective. So the enemy is using media to paint a perspective. I got a friend, a minister friend, one of my boys, man of God. He was talking, he posted on Facebook so I can share it. He said he was driving the other day and he got pulled over. And when he got pulled over, he was like, yo, I put my hands out the window. I was like, yo, sir, I'm carrying, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I ain't trying to not make it home to my kids. I'm like, bro. And he said, and the cop kept telling him, like, you good, bro, chill. Like, we straight. Like, you were speeding, that's it. Like, he like, I know, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that every cop is bad. You know what happened? His perspective was tainted by media, so he was living in fear. So the enemy got a hold of his perspective, and then he controlled his response, which made him live as a man of God in fear every day. See, because the media only told us the negative things that happen, we don't hear about the savings and the people risking their lives. We don't hear about all that because they're trying to paint a perspective that creates animosity. They're trying to create a perspective that creates fear. My question is, who's producing your perspective? It's amazing how at Eastern Michigan University's campus, we got so much news about a painting on a building that said, leave niggers. It said it. And next thing you know, we got people in my other school, Grand Valley, they did a post. They had everybody standing locking arms all down. And I'm all down for that. I'm supporting it. That's cool. But the thing I discovered is, could we be fighting the wrong enemy? And that's cool that you want to stand. I ain't mad at that. But I discovered that if you look at this text, I didn't have time to walk through it. When the spies came and told them about the big people, they weren't to fight the people who was telling them about God. If my perspective is changed, I can start fighting the wrong battle. Oh my gosh. And it's amazing how we can come together to stand in the natural means, but we can't get people to come together to pray. All right, it's cool. Y'all just want to hear me say Black Lives Matter. I get it. But I discover that it's a perspective issue that the enemy is using to make you scared. And you know what else he's doing? He's trying to create division so that when you see somebody, you immediately don't like them. Remember that whole Deja's ex? You driving down the street and you see a person who made a vow to protect you, who has nothing to do with the things you've been seeing, and you see cops, people killers. So now when you run into a situation, you don't even want to tell them because you fear not. So now you're vulnerable and you're isolated. I'm just trying to teach you perspective. That's all I'm trying to do. The enemy is cunning. And now you go into school and you see a person of a different color, and automatically you assume they're the ones who made the painting on the building. So now you dislike them because the enemy has painted your perspective. Who's producing your perspective? Because if you get my perspective, then you get my response. If you get my response, then you control my life. Pick your perspective. Because although the media and the enemy is trying to tell me to dislike you, God tells me to love you because we're brothers and sisters in Christ. Oh, I thought I would get some more claps from Christians in that moment right there. I thought I would get some claps that said I can love people. I still ain't got none, huh? Y'all don't want to. Am I in the wrong place? Are there any Christians in the house? Can I get you to clap your hands? Okay. Because our word says to love my neighbor as myself. But I've allowed the enemy to produce a perspective that makes me dislike you even though I don't know you. You Deja's ex to me. When if I was really wise, I could decide to say, yeah, you the ex and I'm the president and you ain't coming back. I need you to see how much she upgraded and how foolish you were for letting her go. I'm excited to be able to show the enemy how you tried to make me hate another race. But I need you to see how I'm even impacting the other race to come to get God. You see, okay. See, yep. The wrong perspective can have me fighting the wrong enemy. I have to pick my perspective. This is why the Bible says, and I understand that the enemy has an agenda, and his agenda is to feed our perspective. But then also God is after our perspective because my life is controlled by how I view things, how I see things, which is why the Bible says guard your heart with all diligence because out of your heart flow the issues of life. Your perspective is birthed out of your heart about things. So the enemy wants you frustrated so that he can change your perspective. That's why he's been attacking the perception of church, so that your heart will make you feel like it's not a place that's for you, but it's a place that's against you so that you have to fight yourself to even show up. He's attacking your perspective of work, making it priority as if God doesn't have another job. But I guarantee you, your job don't have another God. But if I fight your perspective, I can control your response. If I control your response, I can control your life. And God is like, listen, I gave my life for you to have a chance to take my perspective. Which is why the Bible tells us in Romans 12:2, be not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your what? Your mind. Another word, of your perspective. Because if I can renew your perspective, I can change your response. If I can change your response, I can change your life. Which is why the scripture goes on to say that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Some of us are going through life and we're choosing the wrong perspective. Some of us got dumped by somebody and we choose the perspective that we're going to be hurt and we can't ever make it without them. Or you can choose the perspective of, yo, if God let you go, he must got something better and I'm going to fight to honor him and he's going to make it work for my good. It's all about which filter you choose. Which filter will you look through? Will you look through the way God's telling you what it is, or will you look through what the enemy has for you? Which filter will you use? I was dealing with some people the other day, and I was teaching them. They were telling me about how they lost some friends. I said, you lost some friends. It was like, and it's just really hard because, and then the person asked me, he says, how do I deal with the repercussions of obeying God? I said, excuse me? And it was a legit question, and I felt it, and I understood it, but I discovered that you were looking through the wrong filter. What do you mean by looking through the wrong filter, Pastor Matt? Because yes, when I follow God, some people may begin to walk away from me. Yes, when I follow God, there are some things that my flesh desires that was bad for me that I will stop doing, which will cause me to end up better than where I used to be. But have to sacrifice in the moment of where I live. Yes, that's true, but that is not a repercussion. That's placement. See, because, and this is what I told them, I gotta move. Yanni, can you come help me since we can use your picture? Can I use you? Come quick. That ain't quick, Yanni. Your feet not moving any faster. All right. God, they still didn't move fast. God bless her. She don't want to fall. Okay, here we go. Sometimes in life, people will walk with you. Okay? And come on, let's go back a little bit. I know it's dark back here, but camera people, just stay with me. And in life, we got some people who we grow up with. Anybody have some friends you grew up with? You know, y'all been friends for a long time. And have you discovered that sometimes people you thought would always be there begin not to be there? And that hurts, right? That's the truth. You expect, that sucks sometimes. I've been through it. I understand it. Thank y'all. And I discovered something, is that God has a plan for all of us. And we have to decide if we're going to obey his plan or just follow our plan. And sometimes obedience to God is uncomfortable, but it's not a repercussion. Y'all follow me? So I was telling the individual, I said that there are times that you can walk with people, but then there comes a time that you can't, certain people. It doesn't mean that you lose them. It's all about your perspective. So he says, how do I deal with the repercussion of losing some of my friends? So, Yanni, you want to go there. See the corner, the tip of the stage? I'm going to go to this tip of the stage. You got it? Now, what I discovered is that in life, we start and we take steps with people. Let's just take a couple steps, Yanni. And this is cool, right? We've taken these steps. We can stop right here. We've taken these steps, and neither one of us, please stay with me. It's okay. We've taken these steps, and neither one of us have necessarily gotten off the path towards what God has promised, right? We both can get to where we're going to. Let's step down now, Yanni. And we're good. Now, what begins to happen is, at a certain place, where we're going differs. And we have a decision to make. Either we're going to stay together, I follow where you're supposed to go, you follow where I'm supposed to go, or we have to separate to get to where God has called us. Although for the last 8 steps, it was cool for us to walk together. Following God does not mean that this is a penalty. It means that I'm getting closer to where he's called me. But if I look at it as a penalty, I'll feel like I shouldn't follow him. Because I'm thinking about what I'll lose, which is a friend, which is why I have to choose, am I going to keep you or am I going to get to who I'm called to be? It's the power of perspective. So where I used to cry about losing you, I get excited because I discovered that means that I'm more mature and closer to who I'm supposed to be than I was when we walked together. And although I love you and you're not a bad person, our season of closeness was just up because I got to get to where I'm called to be. You can go back. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to understand what I'm saying. Because my perspective impacts my response. And my response controls my life. And if I allow myself to fight progress, I'll curse the blessings of God. I'm saying something. Some of us have been cursing God's blessings. They dumped you so God could free you. They left you because you couldn't stop smoking when you hung with them. They walked away from you because you was about to get kicked out of the next school too. So God had to draw you closer to your place, although he had to sacrifice your old position. My perspective controls my response. And I got to be careful who produces my perspective. And I got to start picking my life. And then once you begin to start recognizing that God is working for you, the last thing I'm going to tell you is protect your perspective. Everybody say, protect your perspective. Protect your perspective. Meaning that once you begin to get on your positive track and you trust in God and you believe in God to make things work for your good, don't just listen and talk to anybody who's trying to tell you something different. Don't let people talk to you and tell you things that make you question and doubt the road and the route you're taking as you get closer to where God has called you. Protect your perspective. Because how you see it will control how you respond to it. How you respond to it will control your life. Clap it up if you understand.